All right. Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 6 p.m. and I'll call to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting is on Zoom, so I am going to read the governor's order. This meeting will be available for in-person attendance and on Zoom on March 29th, 2023. Governor Healy signed into law Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, which, among other things, extends the expiration of the provisions pertaining to the open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. Specifically, this extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. This meeting of the Freetown Board of Selectmen will be conducted in person as well via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found at the town of Freetown's website, freetownmma.gov. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner: downloading Zoom and entering in the meeting ID below, calling the number listed below and entering the meeting ID listed below, or by going to the link and entering the meeting ID listed below. Although in-person attendance is available for this meeting, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website and YouTube channel an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So, although I said it in the governor's order, this meeting will be recorded. Also, today we will be going into executive session and then coming back into open session. We will be going into executive session for the following reason: Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. So with that, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made. I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, we are now in executive session. So if you're not here for executive session, please leave the room. Everyone, we are now back in open session from executive session. We're going to move on to agenda item 1. This is an executive session minutes from 12/4/2023. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve but not release the executive session minutes from 12/4/2023.
Motion made.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, now we have the open session minutes from 11/29/2023 and 12/4/2023. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the open session minutes from 11/29/2023 and 12/4/2023.
Motion made.
I'll second them.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Now weekly warrants 027 through 052. All right. So any discussion on that?
No.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the weekly warrants.
So made.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. Now agenda item 4. Discussion vote whether to declare three drawer filing cabinets with estimated value of $50 from planning and conservation as surplus and what to do with them. Big one.
Well, did we clean it out? Make sure there was no paperwork in there.
Yeah.
You know, step 1.
Well, it's simple. Just have them bring it over to the transfer station and toss it in the metal scrap pile.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Nobody else wants it. We've checked. Make sure.
We've
Chief,
checked with
you
all
don't need an extra
departments.
filing cabinet. You good?
No, it's pretty
Left good? Need
old
anything?
and,
No,
and
good.
busted up, so.
Anything? You good? So we tried.
All right. Yeah. I think that makes sense. So I'll entertain a motion that we declare the file cabinets as surplus and bring them to the transfer station for recycling.
Motion made.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. So agenda item 5 is discussion whether or not the town pursues acquiring the water line and the Elm Street Dam for purposes of the sewer line. And so the background on this is that there is a culvert that runs from the dam in Asonet all the way up to Coparts. They currently, when Coparts bought that property, they also bought this water line. And potentially it could help the town if we ever go through the sewer project, we could potentially utilize that water line for the sewer line itself. But there's a lot of moving parts there and not really positive if it's even, well, first of all, though, and the thought it would save us money, but I think there's some different opinions on how much money it would actually save. So I don't know, Deb, do you have any?
Yeah, so I've asked the engineers to give us a cost of what they believe we're going to save, especially under the Route 24 overpass, which seems to be the most expensive piece of this sewer line extension.
Yep.
Supposed to have it by today, but I didn't get it. So I don't have that information for you. I'll continue to work on it, but it'd be easier to quantify it if I have those numbers, so that it's an easier decision once I have those numbers to share with you.
All right, so let's move on from this one, and then once we get those numbers, then we can bring it back up in a meeting in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking for that in the packet as well. I didn't see it. It's
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of it, but once the engineer starts looking at it, it might cause more problems than helps, but we'll see. Okay, so moving on to agenda item 6, this is discussion about whether moving the veteran memorial chair to the police department. And I think we have some folks here related to this one. Yeah, any kind of, I guess, background input on this? Deb, do you want to start off?
Yeah, so basically this is, the continuum issue of having no space at the town hall. We're really cramped, and Cheryl has to do early voting, and she sets up in the hall of the town hall, and there's just no room. There's no room for staff. There's no room for residents to come in. So it's been brought up about moving the chair. It was brought up before me, I think. And I know that Mr. Klavaka from Veterans Agent has weighed in. I know there's no great place at the police station either, but we believe that there's some room there that maybe the seat could be moved to the community room or something over at the PD to give this more space at the town hall. So it's just a discussion to be had about the chair.
What about the COA? Is there any room there?
I recently had
they're just like us, always looking for more space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chief.
I'm sorry. I recently had an opportunity to speak to the director of the Council of Aging, and we had a discussion on this topic specifically. And she had mentioned that a designated area within the Council of Aging is set aside for like a veterans memorial. They call it a veterans corner. I wish we had any chance of turning on the TV. I could throw the picture up on the TV if you turn the TV on. But in the bottom right corner of where they normally have the Christmas tree, there's a corner there designated for the veterans corner. And after speaking with the director, she was actually enthused to hear that and was willing to accept the veterans chair at that location. I believe there's plenty of room there. I think it would be more practical to have the seniors having access to it and paying tribute. Not saying that this community room or the police department wouldn't show the same respect, but on the same note, just putting it here in the community room where We do use it quite a bit, and the room that's available in this room for different forms of training. There's times when we break down all these tables and chairs, push them aside, and we'll do defensive tactics training in this room.
That could get ugly. For
And the
chair.
other things that are in here, we cautiously push to the side of the room so we don't damage anything, including the TVs, monitors, flags, whatnot. And just adding a 3 foot by 3 foot platform structure with the chair, and it just adds more congestion to the room. So my recommendation is the room is there at the Council of Aging. I'm hoping that's a viable fit, but I'm at the leisure of the board in their decision-making.
Well, just to clarify, I don't think it's the chair itself. I think the chair is perfectly fine, right, where it is, right? I think it's the base that we're mostly concerned about. Am I correct on that? I think the base is a little wider in the hallway, right?
Okay, yeah, can I add?
Oh, absolutely, yes. We want your input, absolutely.
Dan LeBlanc, I was the veteran agent at the time who raised the money for the POW MIA chair. We raised so much money that we raised enough to do 2 chairs. We're probably the only town and the only city in the state that has 2 chairs that I'm aware of. I have no problem moving it here or there, personally. We have the second chair is at the VFW. The platform was put there by the town.
Okay.
It wasn't intended to be on a platform, but they put it on the platform really to kind of raise it up a little bit so that nobody would sit on the chair.
Yeah.
That was the concern we put at town hall. Actually, it was Chief Abbott that transported it in the 4th of July parade when we brought it over to town hall and brought it in. If you're familiar with the POWMA chair at the VFW, it's just the chair, it's the 2 flags, and it's the posts and the rope around the chair that protects the chair. If the seniors are willing to take it at the senior center, Chief, can I ask you, is it on the first the entry level or I don't know what they consider the first floor or the second floor? Is it the second level or the first level?
It is the first level. I currently have the picture to show everyone, the memorial, the chair,
Right.
flag,
Sitting
and
on
the
that
post.
platform.
Yeah.
And this is just a second image. Better see the plaque, the dedication to this memorial.
Yes.
Now, this is a picture of the bottom floor. As soon as you walk in the doors to the right where the Christmas tree center is, that corner, that current corner there is considered to be the veterans' corner. Speaking to the director, she would move a lot of those items, including there's like a table there that has that flag draped over it, that she would move and then put that same base unit with the chair and
Because
the.
I think if memory serves, the senior center was built with the efforts of, what was his name? Sam
Ferry.
Ferry, thank you. Sam
From the clouds.
behind voice from somewhere. He was a veteran, very involved and very concerned about veterans issues. I personally have no problem with going over there if the town hall needs the space. It doesn't need the platform. You can put the chair in the corner with the rope around it and the 2 flags. Like I said, we raised so much money that we were shocked at how much we raised, but we were able to get 2 chairs. I have no objection to it going over there.
I guess as a resident veteran on the board.
No, absolutely. I just want to, it's your decision at the end of the day, right? You guys did all this work to pitch before that. Is that going to be, we cleaned it up, of course, not going to be a place for chairs other than that 1 chair.
And like I said, the picture that Chief showing with the platform is just everything but the platform, because that was built by the.
Just bolted in, right, at the
by
bottom?
town, yeah, and it was built really to raise it up so that people wouldn't sit on the chair if kids went in there.
Yeah.
And if it goes to the senior center, it's seniors, it's not children, so I don't have an objection to it going over to the senior center. That'd be a nice location for it, really, because when the Christmas tree is gone,
Right.
that's there in the corner. If they want to clean up around it with just the chair and the 4 posts and the rope and the 2 flags, that's it. You don't need We clean around the one at the VFW because it's on the floor.
Once we get a plan in place, is it all right if they contact you to make sure that it meets your standards, proper honors and everything else, moving it?
That's the way it's set up right there. That's all they do.
Well, if you need anything from the town to help move it as far as honors or so an escort, let us know, please.
That was probably $2,000 or $3,000 that we raised to get it, because those are really nice flags and flag stands. Everything you see there was, I mean, I was shocked at how much money we raised to do both of those things.
That's awesome. All right, Deb, you have any final thoughts on that?
No, I think that would be great if, and I didn't think of that. So that might be a better place for it.
Okay, and Rebecca's good with it, right?
She's great with it. I even offered quite a few young officers to help make this transition
Perfect.
smoothly, so it'll be taken care of, and including like those other items within the senior center. We'll be happy to help her and move them wherever she wants.
Yeah, I think it looked really nice there. That'd be
Keep
great.
them emailed or a phone call, let them know that it occurred. That way there's, we'll go inspect it, make sure it meets standards that chair deserves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to move the Veterans Memorial Chair to the Council on Aging.
Motion made.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, thank you, gentlemen, very much. Appreciate your input on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chief, as well.
Okay, so now moving on to agenda item 7. This is vote whether to approve change order 1 from Petroleum Management for the concrete fueling pad.
Of course, my screen just said, no way, Carlos, you can't see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the change order. We did the fueling pad at the highway barn that's been cracked for many years. And when they got into it, the pitch of the whole pad was wrong. It was pitching everything into the abutting property. So we had to change the elevation. So there was a change order.
All right, makes sense. $7,500.
Yeah.
All right, well, that sounds like something that we need to do.
Unfortunately, we own the problem, though.
Yep.
All right.
All right, any additional input on that?
No. Nope.
All right, so
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
It says petroleum pad, no fuel has been spilt or anything like that, right? All hazards have been mitigated to this point, correct? As far as what's on there and everything else?
Nothing has spilled. This is the concrete you put by the fuel pumps with the grooves in it. So if any gasoline does spill, it's contained in the pad itself. So it's got all those grooves cut into it.
That's literally the purpose of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just making sure that the integrity of it didn't, the purpose of it is for X reason. Make sure that the repairs aren't, one, damaging that same reason, or two, making it worse. The issue is worse. Sounds like we're staying ahead of the curve, which is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, no, it's the complete opposite, Carlos. That's what it's trying to do, is mitigate the cost. If any spills happen, that they stay on the pad.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jen.
And this add-on was to the whole project. Like, they were replacing the entire pad. It's just that when they started to do it, the elevation was off. So they hadn't anticipated doing that in the original bid. So that was an add-on.
yep, that makes sense. All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order 1 from Petroleum Management for concrete fueling pad.
Motion made.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, moving on, agenda item 8. This is vote on whether to approve the renewal quote for Civic Plus for website hosting and support. And it's like that is about $4,300 and some change.
Correct.
Let's try and find last year's. I'm assuming it went up like everything else, right?
It did.
Yeah.
It was only, I think, a couple $100.
It went up a couple $100. Okay.
Which is not too bad. If you would have came back saying you went up thousands of dollars, that's different discussion.
Yeah, and we obviously need our website. We don't have much.
Right.
This is the same company that does like all towns, right?
They do a lot of towns.
I just noticed that because every town website I go onto, they look exactly
They look the same, yeah.
And the Civic Plus also does the text messaging and everything else you get.
It's part of the SMO.
Part of that same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
All right. Any questions or concerns?
No.
No.
Good. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal quote from Civic Plus for website hosting and support.
Motion made.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. Now we just have to acknowledge the issuing of 3 of the freetownma.gov email addresses for the fire station and staff. And they are ffdems@freetownma.gov, ffdqm@freetownma.gov, and ffdtraining@freetownma.gov.
Right. And the understanding is this is a general inbox that someone can email for a group setting and everything else. So,
Yeah.
better communication for people that need it. So that's essentially what that is.
Yeah. So it's EMS is one of them,
Quartermaster is key.
quartermaster, and then training. Okay. Yeah. I'm happy that we're using these, and that makes sense to me. It seems to be probably more efficient with
Yeah, we updated the servers, so now we can actually have addresses for people that need them.
yeah.
So who'd have thunk it?
Perfect. All right. So there's no vote there. It's just acknowledging. All right. All right. Now we have some Class 2 motor vehicle license. So we have Dean Markel, DBA Miller's Auto Sales. A. B. Chopperhead Industries, DBA Chopperhead Custom Cycles. C. Michael J. Barnes and John F. Mello, DBA JM Auto Sales. Michael Burns, sorry. D. Sandman Corp., DBA Sandman Auto Sales, and E. Coparts of Connecticut. Any questions or concerns on those?
No, these are all just standard renewals.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2024 renewals for the Class 2 motor vehicles that were just listed.
Motion made.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. Cruising along. Agenda item 11. This is discussion and vote whether to approve the recommended change in commercial solar fees as recommended by the building commissioner in attachment A. And so that's on page 74, I think, right? That's where it was.
And carpal tunnel trying to scroll down to page 74.
It was 77, I think.
This was requested by the building commissioner.
It's like $500 minimum,
Yeah.
$10 per kilowatt, up to 1,000 kilowatts, and $5 per kilowatt for any portion over 1,000 kilowatts.
So this is for commercial. So this is for the permits themselves, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So a $500 minimum, but that's like a base, and then $10 per kilowatt for up to 100 to 1,000 kilowatts, and then $5 per kilowatt for any portion over. Okay, so it's like a tiered pricing structure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this puts us in line with similar towns is what I'm seeing here from the support.
Correct. Yeah, they looked at everything that was going around us, and seems like to be right down the middle of all the fees and what they charge for solar. That's just the solar portion, right? Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, but the electrical fees, like electrical permit is also required, so that's separate from that. This is just for the kilowatts based on solar. And since we keep seeing solar, we might as well, benefit the town from it, right? So.
Yeah.
I think this just gets us in line with the other towns. The permit fees are they're supposed to be somewhat similar to like your time spent. In other words, they're not really meant to make money for the town. They're just, if say it's going to take them 2 hours to review something, it should equate that, So, Carl had put that together, feeling like our existing fees were not correct in the way that we were assessing them. This would be more equitable and more in line with other towns.
Sounds good to me. Jared, you good with that?
Yeah, absolutely. If we're in line with everyone else and, we're taking, we don't want to lose money at this, right? So
Yeah.
if that's point, if it's in line, let's do it.
Yeah, we don't want to be the lowest and the highest. We want to be somewhere that's fair for the people around us, and
I
that's what we
agree.
came up with. So that's what we'll go with.
All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommended changes in commercial solar fees as recommended by the building commissioner and attached Renee.
Motion made.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, agenda item 12, this is discussion and vote to who to award request for quotes to the fire department cargo trailer, and I think we only got one. And that's Scott's Recreation. It looks like we requested quotes from what, 10 companies or so? Am I reading this correct?
8, yep.
8. That was me just
That's a
guessing.
good guess. Close.
And the quote came in at $12,499. All right. Well, not much to talk about here if that's the only quote we got.
Yep. And I ran the quote with the schematics by the fire chief to make sure it met his requirements, and it does.
Perfect. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll abstain from this vote as I didn't vote on the original path forward to get to this point, so I don't want to muddy the water. So,
All right. That's fine, man. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to award the fire department cargo trailer quote to Scott's Recreation.
Motion made.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
abstained.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. Now we have ambulance abatements and write-offs for November 2020. So the total for write-offs and abatements for 2020 for November 2023. Did I say 2020? I'm losing it. Was $167,057.10. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ambulance abatements and write-offs for November 2023.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay. Moving on. So agenda item 14 is discussion and vote on whether to vote or abstain from the vote on the grant application Jay Michaels filed on behalf of the Cultural Council.
So it's a little confusing, but Mr. Michaels was the chair, I believe, of the Cultural Council. He has resigned that position, and I believe he is putting in an application for a grant to the Cultural Council or to the Cultural Council of America. And the board is asking what your preference is on whether you want the 4 members that served with him to abstain from voting, or if you're okay with them voting. I believe they filed disclosures stating that they could vote without being, subjective, that they'd be objective and vote. So they're just looking for your recommendation, whether they should vote or abstain from voting.
I'm okay with them voting. I don't know about any. I read it, I've heard it. I'm not even sure what I'm voting on, to be honest with you. So, walking it through, he used to be the chairman. He got a grant proposed. We don't know whether it's approved or denied, right? He stepped down, right?
He stepped down. He's no longer the chair.
And
He's with 4 members that are currently still on the Cultural Council.
how much was the grant for? Do we know?
I don't know. He applied for a grant.
And the new person that replaced him as the chair, are they aware of the grant and able to, let's say if it's awarded, able to handle whatever requirements there are?
I believe the new person is the one requesting this
Okay.
recommendation,
Sure we're clear.
this board's preference.
Yeah.
I think they also filed the disclosure form. Luann has all of that.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is disclosure form, yeah.
Perfect. Seems like it's all in order.
So the vote is whether you recommend they abstain from voting or whether you recommend they vote.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion that they vote on the grant application J. Michaels filed on behalf of the council, Cultural Council.
I second that motion. I'm sorry, motion made.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Old habits die hard, Carlos. I get it.
Yes.
Selectman Lopes,
Yes.
Selectman Zager,
Yes.
Selectman Matthews.
Yes. All right. It's a funny motion because it's a vote about voting.
Voting about a voting.
Okay. All right. Agenda item 15, discussion and vote on additional Dropbox for document collection at an East Freetown location, which kind of makes sense because we only have one that's at Town Hall.
Yeah.
You have to drive all the way across town.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. A resident brought it up this past week, asking from East Freetown, older gentleman, and asked a simple question: why don't they have the same access to drop-off locations like a Sonnet? A 10-minute drive at night for some people might be a long drive, especially if you can't really see that well. So having a second location makes sense, right? Looking, for the amount of money for a lockbox such as this, let's say central location, let's say here or the Council of Aging, something centered to town, the people in East Freetown would have no problem getting to it, especially if there's weather like today. Who wants to drive down Bullock Road if they can just come right straight here? And we have the video recording, so it's kind of hard not to say yes.
So it's like $800. Is that what I'm saying, or is it
There's some shipping and
1,500?
whatnot.
Yeah,
This
some
was
shipping.
a couple of years ago that we did this quote that I threw in there. These are the
Okay.
ones for the in front of the town hall.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it was like $763 for the box. And then you had to do the cement pad and the installation, and the shipping was like almost $200 to ship these. So, but I'm sure
Yeah.
the
The
price
cost
is probably higher, but that's what I had on
And
there.
the cost isn't really scary. It's who's going to be responsible for picking it up and bringing it to.
Right.
That's the other part of it, right? And how often will it be?
Right. In the background, we'll have to figure out the logistics of, the day to day. So they put a sign up there saying it's picked up getting spitballing out there. Nothing's been decided on that end. Every day at 4:00 will be picked up or 3:30 the latest. So it gets in on time. We'll make sure it's fair for everybody in town, whatever the decision
So
is.
one of my problems with it all is, and I 100% agree with it as someone who grew up on that side of town, and not trying to forget about people on that side of town, is the security and integrity of whatever gets put in that box.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to make sure that whatever we do, and as well as make sure we talk with the employees who are going to get the stuff that goes into that box, that they're okay with it and it doesn't affect their process. So I think there's still some questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
It sounds good on paper, and I'm okay with spending a little extra money to have the box to help our residents, but we just need to make sure that all that works out.
Absolutely. I think, quickly thinking about it, that whatever policies or rules and procedures we have in place now with one at Town Hall, an expansion of those or something similar to those are what's going to have to be made, right, for that exception. It'll take us some time to get this box, probably a month or two, if not longer. So we have time to map it out and putting it on for another meeting to make sure that you were the one that put it in?
No, I have a question.
Oh, sure. Regarding this specific thing? Okay.
Yeah. Go.
ahead. Say your name for the record and
Rosowski, Chase Road. I appreciate we have the mailbox in front of Town Hall.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be an extravagant project where we spend $1,500. We can get a drop box. It can be put in the lobby. This lobby's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never closes.
Yep.
I
Somebody
can't
wants
hear
to
him.
break in, rip it off the wall, and the police department, I think we should be suitable resources to find the perpetrator.
no, I like it. You know what?
Instead
Yeah.
of spending, $800 or $1,000 pouring a pad. I mean, let's keep it simple.
Agreed, sir. Agreed.
$200, a lockable box, which is secure. If it's emptied on a regular basis 2-3 times a week, it doesn't have to be the size of a full-size mailbox. There aren't that. The only time there are issues during census time, is really, which we're in right now. But other than that, there's just not that much. Those boxes aren't full. I've seen them being empty. They're not filled to the top.
Right.
And it just seems, again, we're not going to save a tremendous amount of money by keeping it simple. But it's frustrating when I see everything becomes a project.
Oh, 100% agreed. Today's discussion was based on, do we have appetite to putting some type of vessel, right? We think of lockbox as a mailbox because that's what we've seen around town. Well, if we're talking about the police station, yeah, an indoor lockable location next to the doors is smart money. I agree. So, when I heard concrete pad, I'm like, well, it's going to be indoors more than outdoors. So, but no, you're right. We'll take that into account. Absolutely. But we definitely all agree that something would be nice to have for the people in East Freetown.
Yeah.
Size and shape
Here it makes sense
to be
too.
determined.
It does make sense in this building for reasons you stated, and also just, everyone knows what the police station is.
Yeah, sure. But just also, we haven't talked to Cheryl about this, so we need to run it by the clerk who's in charge of.
Okay. All right. So
that.
that makes sense. Do you think we should put this on a next agenda? We can just get Cheryl's take on it, get the chief's take on it, make sure he's okay with it. I don't see any issues with it. Like, I don't want to put something in this police station without running it by him first.
Okay.
Two points you guys just both took for me, because I do want to make sure Cheryl, especially when it comes to anything voting related and everything, she has very specific guidelines on how everything falls. So we need to make sure that she's okay. And then the chief, right? It's his building to protect. So I just want to make sure that he's okay with it. If they're okay, I'm okay.
Right. It's a full disclosure. When this came up on the agenda, Cheryl did reach out and we did have a brief discussion regarding potential ballots or census, things like that. One thing that was apparent, we all agreed that something on East Freetown side would be beneficial as far as general inboxes and things like that. As far as voting, that's something she will be researching to make sure that voting integrity is always there and never questioned, right? That's a big thing for all of us. So she's chewing on it in a sense. And if that's a viable option down the road, then maybe for right now, general mailbox, like your taxes are due, census put in there, things like that. So, but again, it's just a decision moving forward and the details will come later.
And then the only other thing I will bring up is obviously transportation and making sure that, this comes down to your point before, is that we have specific guidelines on with it being transported. Someone goes over to the police station, pays their tax bill, they think it's in, somehow it gets lost. Things can happen. So I just want to make sure that we're here's the rules A, B, and C as to how everything's going to be handled.
100%, Jared. Totally agree with you.
So should we hold off on a vote till we have Cheryl in the room?
Well, I think the vote for the additional drop box is determined. I think that's a yes. As far as what goes in there and what the rules are, that's for future.
The where.
Yeah, how it all gets put together and where it goes, and making sure all the different people involved in the process.
That's fine. So I guess we can just have a vote on adding additional Dropbox and then have some additional votes later on.
I know when they did the town hall one, we were originally going to do one box, but we ended up with two because the ballots had to have their own box. So I don't know.
Interesting. Right.
If that plays
into it. These are the things we'll have to figure out. We'll just make the general vote to move forward with the additional Dropbox. All right. So with that, I'll enter a motion to move forward with the additional Dropbox for document collection at the East Freetown Police Station.
Motion made.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. And then, obviously, a lot of detail to figure out there.
Yeah.
All right, now I'll kick it over to Selectman Lopes for personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item agenda 16 on the Personnel Board. Discussion and vote whether to add seasonal employment for the Highway Department. Well, this is nothing new. I believe we have a couple on there. Deb chime in, blanket on the numbers, but this is something that's the Highway Department has done in the past. This year, especially with past years, hiring for seasonal work like plow drivers, things like that, it's a little tough, as we've discussed in many different meetings. So this could be a good way to bolster the ranks to make sure that the roads are cleared and everything else. Especially like a day like today, it'd be a perfect example. Yep. So, Deb, did I capture everything there?
Yeah, I mean, mainly it is that we have 5 trucks that can plow that we don't have drivers for. So depending on how many snowplow contract drivers we get will depend on whether we need these seasonal drivers to come in and drive, seasonal employees to come in and drive our trucks. In the past, we've had Teddy Walsh that used to be, he was he worked for the highway department and then he retired. And we had a couple of other people. So mainly we're looking for, it may even be existing employees that don't mind plowing snow at night, or bringing in people that will just be employees plowing for the town in the town's vehicle. Right now, Chuck is up in the air. He's not sure whether we're going to need him or not. So what I'd like is just to have the permission to work with the highway surveyor to determine if we need him, and if we do, to allow us to hire them. They get paid out of the snow and ice removal budget, so it's not a budget issue for us. Does that make sense?
Well, it does.
Makes sense.
Thank you for adding more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My one question is you decide you want to plow, right? And you're a full-time town employee, and now we have to pay you time and a half on your because so it can get expensive in a hurry, I guess. So that would be my one caveat. I want to use the trucks. I don't want them sitting there with a plow on them. Meanwhile, residents are complaining that their road's not clear.
Yeah.
That does no one any good. I just want to make sure that we're not overspending trying to get to that point.
Right. Well, I think, what are we paying? $85 an hour to the contractors?
6 foot.
Mhm.
So I don't know that we'll be paying that in overtime, but I think to your point, I believe there's going to be something. If I were to say hire, I don't know, say Luann decides she wants to plow snow. I don't think she does, but say she wanted to, and she's a contractor.
Nobody
a
wants
little
to
bit
plow
different.
snow.
I think because, there's always that conflict if you're holding 2 jobs, we would have to come back in and have the selectmen sign off on that, basically giving permission to her. We did this with Kevin. Remember when he was in the water department and the Board of Health department, have the select agree to something. I can't remember the exact language that said it was okay for him as long as it was outside his normal work hours, just like we did with the special municipal employees last week with it's the same kind of thing. It's just the nature of right now trying to get people to work. It's difficult, So I think you'd know if we were hiring internally and that it was an overtime type of a thing, because I'd have to come back to you.
Right. No, I think, I spoke to Chuck about this and to Deb, obviously, and this is something that they've done to bolster their ranks in the past. And one thing to the highway department, when you enter Freetown, right? Like today's another great, again, use today as an example. Neighboring towns, they do whatever they got to do to take care of their roads, but you're in Freetown by the level of service we received from our DPW, right? So shout out to them and the great work that they do. And this is just making sure they stay fresh. Adding more people doesn't create that burnout that you see in town employees, especially when you're plowing snow for 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you've ever done it, it's a painful job. So,
Yes.
So I'm like before, but it's a team vote. So I'll throw it out there and take it from there. I entertain a motion to add seasonal employment for the highway department. Nice and simple.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do roll call.
Yep.
Selectman Lopes. Yeah.
Aye. Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes.
You're like a ninja. I didn't see you leave. All right.
Girls gotta go.
Item agenda 17, discussion and vote on water department as a principal clerk. Deb, can you fill me in on this one? I know we talked about it. I believe we're waiting for Mr. Fair to come back to us on whether or not to keep this one on the agenda of today or pass it to the next one.
This is basically determining whether, I think one of the water commissioners might be there as well.
Yes.
To speak to this, but whether to take the existing senior clerk position and make it a principal clerk position. And mainly because he's doing more duties that a senior clerk would do because he doesn't have a hands-on department head in reality, right? He has a board that does, is very involved, or a commission, but because he's alone in the office. So it was a request that really came from the water commissioners to change that existing position, or add a second position of principal clerk and move him into that position,
Well,
which I still believe it's going to have to be, posted as an open position.
correct. From looking at the way it's structured, there is no principal clerk position per se, right? There's senior clerks, but there's no specific language that calls out a principal clerk. And what we don't want to happen is we move forward and say yes to this, and then all of a sudden there's a union issue because we're essentially making up a position, right? Is that the proper? Maybe not.
I don't know. I apologize because I've been out, but there is a principal clerk position in the union contract.
For this position.
Well, the way that the union is structured, it's just like the senior clerks, it's just one job description, and the senior clerk might go in any department. It's similar with the principal clerk. It's just the principal clerk job description, and it could fit any office. Like the building commissioner has a principal clerk. If I wanted a principal clerk up in land use planning, then, there's just a job. It's not principal clerk dash water department, principal clerk dash planning department. It's just one job description. And that's the way they had wanted it set up years ago. I guess it's sort of a blanket description, and it's meant that the clerks are supposed to be interchangeable, which they're really not. I mean, they're just really not. They're trained in their position, and they're not interchangeable on any level. But so that's what this was meant to do, is to sort of just because he's taken on more. He's like the office manager. He does more than just what a senior clerk level person does.
Based on that,
All within their
why-
budget.
The water department has their own budget. Yes, I believe they did budget for this. At the beginning of the year, they put it in their budget.
Okay, revolving fund, right?
Yeah, enterprise fund.
It's an enterprise fund. Right, they have their own separate funding. Is Mr. Rozovsky still in the room?
Yeah.
He's excitingly still.
Stephen Chandler, as Debbie said, runs the water department on the day-to-day operations as far as handling customer interaction, whether it's billing, some of our new, we're trying to get all of our paper documents into the cloud, so we can access them, much easier in an easier fashion. And we have a new VADAR system which helps our billing, which he's, being updated to. The water commissioners we oversee, we're more active, I think, than the previous commissions have been in the past, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. But he runs that department. We do have David Thibodeau, who's in the field, but he's the guy who's in the field fixing things, not running the office. Basically, without Mr. Chandler there, we're like a fish out of water.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me.
Well, I appreciate that. Anytime we put out there potential raise or clerk, different positions, people have questions, especially if they're listening from home. So thank you for the explanation.
And so just to be clear, so you'd have to post this new position, right? I'm sure it will come with an increased pay, which sounds fair because he's already doing that job. But there will be open, if someone else applies for it, there will be an interview process, right? So there's that.
Right.
That
And
risk.
Mr. Chandler's aware of that.
Okay.
Great. Good. All right. Seems like everything's in order.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I entertain the motion to add to, well, let me see how I want to phrase that. Entertain the motion to, I entertain the motion to add a principal clerk position within the water department.
All right, I'll make that motion.
That's good.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes.
All right, agenda number 18, acknowledge the notification of retirement from Neil LaFleur effective January 7th, 2027. Let's think about this one now. You know, that's Deputy Chief LaFleur. Do we let him retire?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll change his mind.
Yeah.
If he say yes today, can he change his mind down the road?
Well, I don't think we voted on it. We're just acknowledging it,
I
unfortunately.
know.
So.
Thank you, Neil, for your tour of duty with the town of Freetown. We appreciate it. And a few more years to go. So can't go anywhere yet. Number 19, acknowledge the disclosure form from Janine Ludovics, sorry, Janine, for Cultural Council, Freetown Cultural Council grant application, and the Cultural Council approval to vote on grant application prior chair submitted to council. This is the one we spoke about on your agenda. Again, thank you, Janine, for all you've done for the Cultural Council. Mr. Zager.
All right. So agenda item number 20, discussion and vote on whether to approve the ball field leases between the town of Freetown and Quantico Junior Football, Freetown Youth Softball Association, Freetown Lakeville Athletic Association, and Freetown Lakeville Soccer Club. Unfortunately, some of the leagues still haven't met. We still haven't received all our signed contracts back. So we were kind of jumping the gun with having this on here because, you know, we really want to get this moving forward. But until we have everything back, we can't actually have the vote on it. So,
Okay.
So hopefully, you know, sooner rather than later. So we're going to kind of, for those reasons, we'll bypass on agenda item number 20. And then agenda item number 21, unless anyone has anything they want to say about it before I try and move on.
Nope.
No, it makes sense that most of them are end of season. So,
Okay, very good. All right, so agenda item number 21, discussion and vote to authorize the town administrator to negotiate, finalize, and sign the ball field leases. So I guess kind of by that same token, we can wait, but I guess the other part is if we give her the authority to do this now, then we don't have to down the road. But I'm not opposed to going in either direction with this one, really. I think actually, just to keep it clean, why don't we just bypass it now that I say it? And then, we'll deal with this one again sooner rather than later.
Okay. So you're saying
Yeah,
not vote on 21?
Yeah, I'm gonna say we don't. Unless anyone wants to tell me otherwise, I say we hold on this part until we have the ball field leases, and then we can move forward on that.
All right.
It's up to you.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. So.
All right. So now, thank you, Selectman Zager. So, Deb, Town Administrator's report.
Yeah, I don't have anything for you guys. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So there's two agenda items. There's the discussion on the Council on Aging water issues.
Oh yeah, and the bathrooms. The water issues is the water needs a filtration system. The water comes to the COA through the old police station. So there's one well. It goes to the old police station where there used to be a filtration system, and then it gets pumped up to the new to the COA. So it's a little bit funky, and the filtration system failed, and so the water is really pretty bad at the COA. The old PD doesn't really need water other than to flush the toilets, but obviously the COA does. So we talked about putting in a new filtration system. It's going to cost $10,000. So I guess in the past there was talk about splitting the well to feed directly into the COA rather than to go through the old PD and into the COA. So I guess that's sort of where I wanted to discuss. What do you think? What would you like to do? I don't know what the cost will be to do that, to split the water line and go directly into the COA from the well. And the second issue I've talked to Carl about is, okay, regardless of what we do, I'd rather the filtration system be within the COA because they're the ones that need it. But there's a lot, the COA, when you walk in, it's the basement, so there's no room. So I don't even know where I'd be able to put a filtration system. So it was just sort of a discussion about what the selectmen felt might be the best course of action, what they want me to pursue. Do you want me to look into splitting the well and go straight into the COA, or do you want me to just put a new filtration system in the old PD and run the water the way it's been going?
But if you're saying that the water quality is an issue, regardless of if we split the well, in my eyes, at the COA, we would still need a filtration system. So why wouldn't we just do something? And I agree with you that, we don't need to filtrate water over at the old police station to flush the toilets with. So trying to find a solution to have it up at the COA makes the most sense. But we need something up there, right? They do have a kitchen and other, there's people up there that are immune compromised and stuff. I feel more comfortable on a lot of different levels to make sure that we have filtered water up there. So.
Yeah.
Well, I have to minimize it either, because the water being as bad as it is does cause a lot of corrosion in the valves. So even though I guess the OPD just has the bathrooms, it starts to corrode all of the plumbing, right? Mm-hmm. That's what new PD, why we had to change out so many of the fixtures, was because we didn't have the filtration system in place. So I don't want to minimize it either. I mean, not having a filtration system will cause issues down the road, even though they're just flushing toilets. It will cause issues with those valves. But my concern was more the COA. I don't know the longevity of the PD building,
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is that building could be raised in a couple of years, right? And then we have to split the well, or we have to divert the well, right? Because we can't go through the old police station into the COA. And even if we do build a new COA, we're still going to utilize that space most likely for something else, right?
I would think so.
We have a unique opportunity. Water Commission's here. Any input? Any 2 cents?
Water Commission, we provide water from City of Fall River, but thinking long term, I know that we have a new municipal water supply here at the police station, which qualifies as a municipal water supply. I don't know, and I think you'd have to speak with Kevin in the Board of Health, whether or not water from here
can go there,
pipe over there, and that would be a solution. That if the old police station was razed, then we don't have to, re-implement it. It's not a Band-Aid, it's a permanent fix for the COA. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the supply, how many gallons a minute. The seniors are not, I don't think they're using a tremendous amount of water over there, but they certainly should have access to clean water.
It's a good option. It's good to know.
Right.
And that's something, we own the land here. We own the roadway.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be that difficult to get the town of Freetown to approve us put the pipe under the roadway.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an alternative, something to consider.
Yeah, I was thinking that same kind of makes sense, right? Deb, so should we maybe get a couple options together and get some prices on things?
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
And then
What do you want me to get you for options? All of it? Like splitting it?
I was thinking, I like the option of pumping over from the police station, see if we get some kind of price around that.
From this police station? We couldn't hear Mark that well on.
So sorry, he's saying if this police station qualifies, it's actually a municipal water supply.
It does.
So if we could pump over to the COA and take the old police station out of the equation.
Oh, that might be good.
Yeah. So that'd be one option. The other option would be to split the well. I feel like I think we need if we come from the police station here, right? I'm sure it would already be filtered because we do have a filtration system here now, right?
Yes, we do.
Could we pump filtered water to the COA? You know what I mean? That's something to consider. So then we only need to buy one filtration system, which
Well, then the cost of having to get that from there over to the COA would not be cheap.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't know, right?
Well, tearing apart parking lots, crossing a road, that would be quite the undertaking. And then what can that police station take for demand as far as what's going to be used? The COA is not going to be a high demand on the water system, but still, it's all stuff that you have to have factored in. That seems like quite a bit to me.
Yeah, but yeah, let's
But everything's worth
just do a
checking
sanity
out.
check on it, see if it makes sense, and then
Right.
but yeah, so I guess then the other option. So, and Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, but like if we split the well, we still need a filtration system. Is it really the question of where it exists? Like, do we do a filtration system in the old police station? I don't think that makes sense. If anything, it has to be in the COA.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know if I can find room in the COA because, if you recall, the COA is got the kitchen, got the stove. To the right of the stove is the hot water tank. That's really where the water probably comes in. So I'd have to put in a whole filtration system there. And I don't think, even though we're going to put a smaller stove in there, I don't know if it will fit. So I will work on that.
Okay.
And I've never seen a Holden tank in the COA. Like I've never seen such a thing. So I have to work, really the water should come into a Holden tank and then go through your filtration system. So I will work on it, but I just wanted to let you guys know that, like I said, there's it's $10,000 for the filtration system. So it's not a small expense.
And I don't want to drag this on forever, but the only other option too is if there's no room inside the building, what about if we built a small shed or something outside? Is that an option? Right? In between, in the parking lot or to the side of the parking lot. That can be in line. So then you have the holding tank, the filtration system all underneath that one isolated roof.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
If that's the way, I'll put some proposals together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Yeah, regardless of the solution, clean water is the only way to go. It's the only option we have. So let's get all options on the table and decide it from there.
All right. And the last item is the town hall bathrooms. You can push this to next meeting if Deb, if you want, or do you want to talk about this now? To you.
Yeah, I mean, we're expecting to hear from the grant either this week or next week, and that's going to move pretty quickly. So you see the two proposals.
Mm-hmm.
By code, I think we could get away with only one toilet in each bathroom, one in the men's room, one in the women's room. I do have concerns with that because with two in the women's room now, sometimes it's backed up and we have to wait. I don't know about the men's room, but it fits better. But now if you're in utilizing the bathroom, and of course, we don't have any other water in the facility, so people wash their dishes in the bathroom sink and they prepare stuff in the bathroom sink because it's the only place. So my only other thought process was to see if they could take where the closets are and maybe make like I want to say like a galley kitchen, like a pantry type of a kitchen, and just put a sink, a fridge, and a microwave in there so that every office doesn't have a refrigerator and a microwave in it. Because that's what we have now. Pretty much every office has their own refrigerator and microwave in it. And they're all preparing food in their offices because we have no other place to do that. And, it becomes, we're lucky we haven't had rodents. We don't have mice in the building, but when you have food around, you're inviting mice, you're inviting the rodents. So it's just not the best situation, but again, we're so tight on space. I just wanted you to weigh in on what your thoughts were of the best scenario for the town. The one that has two stalls really pushes into the assessor's office. I think it's still okay. It pushes into the corner there, and I think it only leaves them 8.5 feet wide. And that's a little bit tight because his desk is 5 feet. So it leaves about 3 feet to walk by his desk. So I don't know what the thoughts are.
Well, I don't like the idea of you guys washing dishes while someone's using the bathroom. So that's something that I've said from day one. And this is going to be our opportunity to kind of not fix it, because this is beyond a fix, but really do it the right way moving forward. I don't love the idea of load sharing of the entire building. Although convenient having your own refrigerator but in your office area is great, it's a lot of power from the town hall perspective. To me, having a place that you guys can go wash your dishes and use a microwave, have a fridge, if it means moving some offices around, that's a discussion we need to take seriously.
Yep.
That's because you've all earned the right to eat away from your desk. That's a basic rule in my book. So
Yeah. This would just be like a little pantry kitchen, like
yeah.
counters on one side with a fridge and then a sink, maybe in the back along the wall. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to leave this kind of decision to you, because you guys have to deal with it. And in my opinion, whatever works best, and whatever has the least impact and is also ADA compliant.
Right.
yeah, why don't I get the department heads together? Because it is all of their building, you know what I mean? We all and see. Let them weigh in, because they work there too. It's important that they at least have a say on some level. Because like I said, my concerns there are concerns. With only having 2 toilets in there, we have, I think, 3 now. And we sometimes don't have enough. So it's difficult. It's just really difficult. And I've said that, the space is limited, and to take office space away when we don't already have office space is difficult.
Yeah. It's a pretty impossible situation.
Yeah.
So, but we also need to, it's 2020, it's going to be 2024. We don't have anything ADA compliant. So
That's also a problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll poll the department heads, get their input, and come back to you guys.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you, Debbie.
And I think we should also invite them to talk to, their staff, right? So that it's not just, Debbie's department. So Debbie's the only one giving input. I think it really should be an all employees decision. I say decision, but at least let them all give their input as to what it is, and then filter it back through department head to you. You don't need every single person's different opinion coming to you via email or whatever, or coming up to your office. But I do think that it should be invited to other employees as well. So
Okay.
Yeah.
because I think to Trevor's point is, it's easy for us to make a decision, and all 3 of us aren't there that often, right? So you guys are the ones who know it and live it and feel it. So we really need to kind of lean on everyone else and make sure that everyone's happy, or as happy as can be.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Deb. Hope you feel better. I think we're going to sign, and then we'll adjourn. Yep. Sorry. Go.
Thank you. Is Debbie still here?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There she is.
I had sent you an email with a short snippet of a video from, I believe it was the meeting, Selectmen's meeting, October 16th of this year.
Yeah.
And pertaining to, there was a vote by the Selectmen to prohibit pedestrians utilizing the 140, Chase Road 140 overpass.
Yep.
During a construction period, which was going to, I don't know when the inception of the construction is going to start, but I believe it was mentioned that it's going to be approximately a 16 to 18 month project. I was unable to attend that meeting. I had a conflict. When I reviewed it, I was somewhat upset. And what upset me was the fact that the most vulnerable people in our society don't have cars. they walk. And what was said was, if I recall the 2.5 minute video correctly, well, they can walk down Gurney Road and walk around. And I was really struck by that. It was kind of hurtful because, you know, to say to somebody, well, we can't have a detail. We're going to have details. We have to have details because it's a state bridge. Right. And we're going to allow cars to go. We're going to allow the fortunate people in our society to drive their cars across, maybe one lane. But the least fortunate people are going to have to walk a mile around. It was very disheartening to hear that it really wasn't, I don't think it was thought through, because the problem I see going forward is because this project's going to take a long time. There are, and we're not talking about hundreds of people who would need access to get through. There are people who walk that bridge every day now. They walk where there is no sidewalk. They walk down the curb, down the breakdown lane. There is a kind of a public easement where they can walk. There is going to be police presence. And what I foresee happening in a worst case scenario is a pedestrian versus vehicle accident on 140, because it's certainly accessible to walk down the ramp, walk across the highway, and walk up the other ramp. And, you know, God forbid that happens. I don't want to be the foreseer of something bad happening. I think a provision has to be made that for the least fortunate people in our community who don't have cars, who don't have, you know, I'm not, you know, can we provide a bus to drive them across the bridge? No, I think that's extraneous, but we can certainly give them the ability to walk across that bridge. And even if we prohibit, you know, you can't do it at night, you can't do it during the dark, or, you know, when we post it so people know. But as I said, it's going to affect the least fortunate people in our community. And I just don't think it's fair. So I'm not asking you to deliberate on it tonight, but I'd ask you at some point to rethink this or review it, come up maybe with a solution which accommodates everybody.
Okay. Yeah. I think Jared has something. I have some comments on it too.
Yeah. So that was, if I remember correctly, that was brought to us as a recommendation that we were to give to the state. It wasn't our vote per se that says what's going to happen. So really, I think that would be a state issue, if I remember correctly. And I think
we had two options, right? It was either going to be like, I want to say like 50% longer of a construction period if we left it open to pedestrian walk, had a pedestrian lane there, or it would be significantly shorter. I forget exactly the two options were, but it was going to be significantly shorter if we didn't have pedestrian walkway. And the recommendation from the state was to not have a pedestrian walkway from their perspective to mitigate
So I have a question when you mention that. Are there going to be details at that site while construction is actively going on?
Yeah.
More than likely, yes.
I can't see. I can't
more than likely.
It will be.
Right.
It will be.
So
it will either be Freetown. It will be either a member of the police department or state police.
Right. So the October 16th meeting, going back to that, it was almost like we were waiting on the state to come back with some answers. So many months before this meeting, I believe it was sometime in the springtime, the state came to us with options, right? We got police and fire involved to make sure that, their trucks and services can get through what will be the best case scenario. So we decided as a board at that meeting that we wanted to go to the state and ask them, like, hey, we want one lane open so we can get some traffic and pedestrians through. State came back saying, well, if we leave one open, it'll take anywhere from 16 to 18 months plus. If it was closed, it'd be anywhere from 13 to 18 months. So we did look at long and hard, not necessarily looking at the less fortunate. We did look at the walkers that were going through. We always think about what's fair for everybody, right? Not just whether you have a vehicle or not. And that October 16th meeting seemed 2.5 minutes doesn't really do justice to the whole conversation because there was one before that. And we did try to work with the state, but ultimately the state did come back saying, here's what we're going to do based on constraints and everything else. So
are both lanes going to be closed? So the bridge is going to be totally shut down. If the bridge is totally shut down, Is that what you're saying? The bridge is going to be
Like,
totally shut
I
down?
was just trying to remember that.
Right.
I think that at some points it will be totally shut down.
Correct.
Well, I know, but if it's totally shut down, nobody goes over it.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, emergency vehicles, if they've got machinery and it's broken up, our fire trucks aren't going over it. They've got to go around, or the ambulance.
Right.
Well, we're fortunate we have ambulances on both sides. But if
I think
that
that's
is
what's
open,
going to happen. Actually, you mentioned that. Deb, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that the bridge is going to be shut down totally. And it was the question was either to have it just for pedestrians or totally closed. Is that what it was?
It was a combination. Like, so we had a couple options from the state going from the first discussion was whether we shut it down partially or fully shut it down. Right. The state came back with their decision, I believe in the October meeting that you mentioned, October the 16th meeting, that they want to close the bridge down. Deb, chime in if I'm off mark here, but I believe it's closed down until they finish, start to finish. It'll be closed to everybody, vehicles and pedestrians. So that's how I'm looking at it. If I'm wrong, let me know. It happens.
Yeah, the April vote, it was the April vote. The board voted to recommend, again, it is a recommendation to the state to leave one lane open if possible. It does increase the construction time, I think, from 13 months to 19 months, maybe an additional 6 months. I'm just going by memory, so I may be wrong. And then I think the second vote, I don't remember them coming down saying that they had made a decision one way or the other. I think, again, it was asking for the town's recommendation of what they wanted to do.
That sounds right.
Have a pedestrian lane or not. I don't remember if there was the same thing, like it's going to increase the time by 6 months or 9 months. It was it's very long, a long project. I'd have to go back and review the minutes of the meetings. Again, I believe it was an April meeting was the original decision about the roadway, and then the October meeting that Ms. Mark is referring to about the walkways. I can go back, we can pull that, and we can put it back on an agenda to look at. Again, it's a recommendation to the state. They're going to do what they want to do anyhow. But.
Yeah.
I would ask that if there is a lane open for traffic, for automotive traffic, I mean, obviously there's going to be an officer on either side, one stopping traffic northbound, the other and allowing to pass. If there's a pedestrian there, they can hold, if they need to hold all the cars for that 2 minutes that it takes somebody to walk across the bridge, I don't see why we can't accommodate them.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And I'm sure the chief can communicate that. Maybe not so easily with the state police, depending on who the detail is, but with our department, I don't think that would be an issue. But I think that if the bridge is totally shut down, I understand it's totally shut down.
Yeah, we'll get some clarity, look at the minutes.
And we are going to potentially have the problem with pedestrians, utilizing because,
I get it.
walking an extra mile is,
Listen, anytime we hear a bridge closing down in any part of town, we take it seriously, and we did our due diligence to go out and ask the people that are going to use it the most, and especially people in that area. And we try to stay middle of the road, common sense, tackle that. But the state, like Deb says, the state's going to come back and do pretty much whatever they want.
into fairness to the Selectmen's board, I mean, that meeting was 2.5 minutes, and it didn't go into the whole scope of everything. So I'm going from what I saw.
Understood.
I hope you appreciate that.
Understood.
Appreciate the question.
I think it's a
thank
valid concern. All right, thank you, sir. So, do you have something to, and just name it? You have to give you a microphone. I don't know if you want to pass that one back.
Hi, my name's Kayla Churchill. I'm a resident of Freetown. I seen on town website that they had a finance position for an appointed position. I sent my letter, I'm just looking on my phone to make sure I have the right date, December 4th, my letter of interest. That was to Margaret French. I went to the meeting December 13th. They all voted to push it forward to, I believe, the second phase, which would go to you guys to approve or deny. I can send it to your email if you want. It's my Yeah.
I was off like 3 days last week too, so I'm still trying to recover from that. So
Okay, I understand. So I was told that sometime either this selectman meeting or the next one that you guys would have a decision.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, you have us on this one. We haven't seen I haven't seen it yet. So she just came back from leave, so we'll definitely look at that. But yeah, the process, basically what you're saying is they go through their process as far as selecting or whittling down the certain appointments, and then it comes to us for an appointment under the personnel board. So if they told you the 4th or 13th, it's moving along. For town speed, that's pretty solid. So, and Margaret she'll get it going.
Okay, now as of the 13th, there was no other letters of interest. Is that still where we stand?
I don't know. It would only come to the personnel side once we have people that come in with interest. So let's say you submitted your letter to Margaret and the finance board. Then once it moves forward, it'll come to us, and then we'll get a list of people to interview or talk to and whatnot. So that hasn't happened yet. So she's been on leave. I've been on leave. I just got back from Santa's Village, so I haven't really checked in either.
And everybody being sick, I understand.
Exactly.
All right.
But yeah, no, the 4th and 13th. That's pretty
send me
good.
the letter and then I'll push
Okay.
it through
Do
the
you guys
process.
all want a copy or just you?
No, I'll
Just
take
send-
care of it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
And we
thank
can't
you.
be on the same emails as the whole thing.
Oh,
So
okay. Thank you.
yeah. So all right, just
Sign away.
Ready to sign?
Thank you.
Let's sign. Thank you very much.
Great questions from both people. Love it. Sign away.
Jared's missing out today on doesn't get to sign anything.
Jared's missing out on carpal tunnel.
I'm crying.
I'll sign twice for you, right hand and left hand.
All right, thanks.
I'm gonna get out of here, but when I get home, I'll shoot you the email. Okay, cool. Thanks. See you. Have a good Christmas.
You too, Kayla.
You got your weekly warrant bills.
Sure.
So high tide's at like midnight tonight, I think.
Oh no, that's not
Have
good.
more water in your basements.
Yeah, I checked my basement today. It's dry.
No, you have
But all my neighbors,
Concrete fueling pad
I
change
did
order.
not look like they were dry.
Now, do you have a
Including
sump
Dell.
pump in your
I
house?
don't. I have like a little. I have one I could. It's not like a real sub pump, but I've had like a pipe burst before.
I'll suggest you for Civic Plus for the website.
When I first moved to Freetown, I thought my house was haunted. Seemed like everything I bought would break, or everything that was in the house that came with the house broke. And one of them was my water pump from the well.
Class
Oh, yeah.
twos.
Well,
There are
I
two.
wake up in the middle of the night, for some reason I was thirsty, and I went to the fridge. I could hear just waterfall. It turns out it was my 3 inches of water in the basement.
There should be two on each.
Yeah.
So
That's not good.
no,
Yeah, I had
no.
where the main connects burst off my one time, which is not fun. All right, so yeah, there's two here.
Yeah, I learned a lot about well pumps that day.
Two again.
I do have a couple that have not renewed.
Really?
Two of which we knew weren't going to renew.
Okay.
It's a couple that Lola will reach out to them again. See if we can get their paperwork before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Is it just like a timing thing that they didn't put in, or something different?
You'll probably forget, right? I mean,
Yeah.
No, they've been mailed, emailed, called. She'll give them one more shot.
When it came to the dealer's license, I got the same letter that every year gets sent to the wrong address.
Is that?
Yeah, who didn't renew? Who was the two that didn't renew? The last two dealers.
Lola usually handles them, so I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
no, if you get one, let me know, because we'll check the letter.
It's the wrong.
It's not DP after something like that, fabrication, because
No,
she has a mailbox with
no,
people who's
no,
talking.
it's I think
It's the wiring.
I've been
So
getting
what?
it for a half a dozen years in a row.
Oh, just show it to me, stop by, and I can show you the list. We can figure out who it is and
No, I can just.
make sure we have the right address.
Call you. That's how-
Cargo trailer, just one of those. Yeah,
Top one,
Yep.
better.
and then pass it along. Ambulance abatements and write-offs. Do we say we were letting Deb do the negotiating of the ball field licenses?
We didn't vote
We
on
did
that.
not. Didn't think so. Okay. I'm done.
All right, good. All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Selectman Lopes,
Yes.
Selectman Zager,
Yes.
Selectman Matthews.
Yes.